This is a field, flat, grassy, and devoid of any elevation. In other words, the last place you would ever want to build a mountain bike trail. But this also happens to be my backyard, and I work with what I have. So far, we've built a climbing trail, a small double, and a not so small roll-in. But up until now, we haven't even been close to utilizing the more hilly side of the property. And now, we are. If you're new here, then welcome. And if you like to watch trail building videos, check out the playlist in the corner of your screen. And if you want to ride along and watch us try to turn this barren 20 acres into a fun backyard bike park, please consider subscribing. Now, if my phone is correct, we have about 50 feet of elevation gain spread over around 1/6 of a mile, and I intend to use every last bit of it. But to do that, we need a fun and fast way to get up to speed, preferably without pedaling. If you saw the previous video, then you know we have already half solved that problem. So today, we will be building another ramp off the fortress. Not a gradual, wide ramp like last time, a steep, smooth cannon to send you hurtling through the grass. As with anything built out of wood, this starts with post holes, but that's boring, so let's just skip that part. Now, we need to figure out where to make our cuts to make this work. And there is a science to this, but I just did what felt right. All I can tell you is I made the angle of the wood around 40 degrees, and the arc I cut at the top had a 4-foot radius. Okay, so I've done this. I've traced a straight line down to connect to the thing, and I've done that. So that's a 40-degree angle. So I'm just kind of staring at it now. And honestly, I had no way of knowing whether or not this was going to work. I just had to do it. So I started cutting the boards, and boy did that go smoothly. Wow. Not the cleanest cut this way, but this looks decent. Now, you'd think the second board would be easier, but it turns out that holding the reciprocating saw straight up and down is harder than it looks. So the cut wasn't exactly straight, and that fact would come back to haunt me later on. So this one is not as good. Even enough, right? And once the wood was cut, I could attach it to the deck using joist hangers. After that was done, I used 2x8s to span the rest of the way to the ground. And as you can tell, this came with a bit of trial and error. But at the end, they ended up being pretty close to straight. And that's good enough for me. Now, let's jump ahead to installing the planks. Now as a whole, this looks like it went pretty smooth. But look closer and you can see the rough saw cuts, the uneven posts, and the merciless hacking and bodging that took place every time I wanted to put on another plank. Nevertheless, I ended that night with planks covering the entire top curve. The next day, I came with some fresh batteries and a determination to finish this ramp. But I had to figure out the bottom transition. To do that, I used the very precise mathematical method of screwing the board in and tracing what I thought looked good. Then, I used a string to draw an even more precise line that was close to the line I had previously drawn. Then, instead of massacring the board with the saw like last time, I used a very precise jigsaw to achieve two very pretty cuts. And even though the going was slow, sometimes very slow, it left me with a much nicer surface on which to screw the boards. Speaking of which, it's that time. And luckily, the rest of this build was super smooth. I attached the curves to the bottom with the same lag screws I used on the fortress. Cut some deck planks to size, and finished planking out the bottom of the ramp, all without running into any more problems. And now that this is built, it's time to see just how much speed we will get from this absolutely gorgeous looking ramp. Now, I don't know about you, but this ramp gets me super stoked to see just what we are going to build out here. So if you want to see me do that, then please consider subscribing. It really does help a lot, and it tells me that you guys like these type of videos and want me to make more. Thanks for watching and supporting. Now get out there and find your flow.